broadcasting and streaming live all across America. This is Home Talk USA with Michael King, where we will discuss topics pertaining to your home with industry-leading experts. Michael King is a licensed general contractor with more than 30 years of experience in home improvements and the author of Contracting with the King. Join us this hour for our segment Invent America with your co-host, the Inventor Lady Rita Crompton. Discover what's next in the home improvement industry and explore new products and innovations. Or if you have that next great big idea, learn what it takes to bring your invention to the world. As Michael King and Rita Crompton talk to America's inventors and innovators. Remember, the America of tomorrow is being invented today. We invite you to visit us at HomeTalkUSA.com, one of the best resources for home improvement information around today. Your best life begins with your best home, and there's no place like Home Talk. That's HomeTalkUSA.com. And now, we proudly present Invent America from the #1 home improvement radio program in the country, Home Talk USA, with your host, the Cajun contractor, Michael King, and his co-host, the Inventor Lady, Rita Crompton.
Hello, everybody, and thank you so much for being with us for this segment of Invent America. And we are grateful to everyone out there who's been paying attention to what's happened in East Tennessee and along those that North Carolina border, and grateful for your prayers and your thoughts, your good wishes, and for some of you, the work you did to volunteer to get out there and help us. And, you know, life goes on and we do get back on track. And so we go after all those inventors out there who are going to come up with some amazing idea, because you know what, they were out shoveling out their backyard, or they got a house filled with dirt now and they've got a better way of moving it out of there. And so today we are talking about when life gives you lemons, how do you make some lemonade? And my industry expert and inventor expert that is on with me today is Mr. Don Skaggs from Kentucky. And, you know, he has talked to dozens of inventors over the years. Don, I bet you've heard some really great stories about making lemonade.
Oh, I have. And I mean, and that's, you hit the nail on the head. I mean, really, the bigger the pain point, the bigger the opportunity. And we've seen so many different versions of that, cases of that. Usually we'll hear an inventor say something like, oh, you know, I had this really frustrating problem with this. And, you know, I just finally just got sick of it. And I said, there's got to be a better way. And guess what? Then they invented a better way. And then they prototyped it, and then they saw that it worked, and not just in their head, but in real life. And they took it to the market. And that, yeah, I mean, there are so many inventors, and usually the bigger the pain point, like I said before, the bigger the opportunity. And
well, and that's for sure. I mean, we laugh about it, but you know, when you think back to when, oh yeah, the ships were coming across the ocean, you know, my ancestors came back in 1720s. If there was a problem on that ship, you'd better figure out a way to fix it, or you were going to sink. And I had a great-great-grandmother who walked across the country with a wagon train. And oh yeah, again, if there's a problem with that wagon, you'd better figure out how to fix it, dig it out, put a new wheel on it, or you're going to put up a homestead right there where you landed.
And I think also this is why I see so many inventors and so much innovation coming out of rural areas and places where people are, where it's like, okay, I got a problem. Yeah, I can't pick up the phone and call somebody to help me. I actually got to figure this out on my own.
Exactly. I mean, farmers and ranchers,
Yeah.
road workers that are out on a crew and something breaks down. They've got to fix it right now. They don't have time for another truck to come in. So you're exactly right that it's a lot of time that pain point, and you think, everything shuts down now and we're going to have cranky people without power. Oh, hello, been living that for the last 10 days.
Right.
Or you figure out how to string that cable across the river and get power out there.
That's exactly right.
I know when we set up this topic and everything, it was right after we did, I was at the meeting with the Kentucky group that had been to the fair. And then we had a meeting that you guys did, and Roy had talked about, you know, making a nice flavored lemonade when life gives you those lemons. And that was before, Hurricane Helene dropped a whole bunch of pain on everybody. And so when I'd set the topic, I'm thinking, okay, I did not realize, how appropriate that title was going to be for right now.
Yes, absolutely. And I mean, as bad as it is, and I mean, it's horrific when bad stuff like this happens. But I honestly I'm looking to see what innovations are going to come out of this, because there's going to be some.
Oh,
There's going to
absolutely.
be some folks that's going to be, hey, we figured this out, and this worked, and this actually made a difference with everything for us.
Absolutely. That necessity is the mother of all invention. Add a little more sugar to that lemonade and you can have a, better flavor. So
That's
it's,
right.
we do invent America because America invents. I don't know that all of our listeners realize that, intellectual property in this country goes back to the 1790s,
That's true.
but it actually goes back to Europe to the 1400s.
Yeah.
And so when we get, some presidential candidate out there that says, oh, we're going to confiscate all intellectual property and everybody's having a meltdown, it's like, you need to keep in mind, okay, intellectual property has been around for centuries and it'll be here long after the politicians are gone.
That's exactly right. It's things come, things go, new things get, edicted out in there. And you know what? Inventors are going to invent. And problems are going to get solved, and people are going to figure stuff out. And the bigger the problem, that's just the bigger the opportunity.
Well, it's what we do. We live out in the rural areas, so it's a lot easier to fix something up and figure out a new way. And it's like, whoa, that is really cool. Let's see what we can do with that. Hello, we hear those stories all the time, don't we?
That's exactly right. And you know what? It's most of the time it doesn't need an app. Now,
Yeah.
apps are great, but there's a lot of practical solutions out there that have still yet to be invented.
They don't need an app and they don't need artificial intelligence.
Yeah, that's exactly right. The intelligence between your ears
Yeah.
is the one that has done the most, and will continue to do so, I think.
I agree with you. AI is only as good as the person putting it together and then the person who knows how to use it. And a lot of times those have no meeting in the middle. They're just like whoosh.
Yeah. I mean, yeah, you got to work these problems out in your head, because if you rely on a calculator every single time you do a math problem, then guess what? You're going to be typing in 2 + 2 to try to figure out what the answer is, and you just get lazy.
Absolutely.
And I'm all for AI. I'm all for, tools, using them as tools. But guess what? That gray matter between your ears, that's really where the difference is going to be made, I think.
It is. And one of the problems that we had out here, so all of you inventors out there, you put your brain power on, and whoever comes up with an answer to this problem, you run with it, and I'm going to be the first one to buy it. All right. For a lot of us that live in the mountains, our wells are very deep. When the power goes out, the generator that you got doesn't always have enough oomph to pull the water up.
One of whose body
and so these folks that assumed they had, that they were going to be good with their wells had no water.
Wow.
And, not only did the water go out in town, but the water was going out in the wells. So a lot of those folks, they need something that's got enough power besides, just a bucket on a string, because a lot of those wells go down 200 feet.
Wow. Well, I will bet you there will be a lot of people working on that now that you've mentioned. Now that you've said it out loud,
there you go.
I can hear the wheels turning out there already.
Well, that is one of the things that we notice certainly needs some work and needs some help. So anybody out there, you got some ideas, you give me a call and let me know. And we're more than happy to get you on the radio and say, oh, gee, Rita, thanks. We got this idea from you.
All right, you inventors out there, there's your challenge.
There you go. There you go. All right, we are going to be right back with our first guest, Roy Rindom. He had definitely some lemonade to make and made it. And I think one of the big issues, we've been talking about kind of natural disasters, but some folks are given some lemons that that becomes their new way of life. And so our next two guests have definitely had those bushels of lemons delivered to them, and they're going to share how they managed to deal with it. And we are very grateful for their time today. If you are out there and you have got an idea, something that you're working on, you want to be on the radio, it is free. Get in touch with me. I do answer my phone when I have internet service, so that might be out there a little bit, but you can always text me to that phone. I do get those. If I lean over the railing on my tippy toes and hold my mouth just right, I will get a text message. So phone number, though, is always the same. So everybody stick with us, because we are going to be right back, and we're going to talk about some of those other resources for inventors, because in America, we invent. Stay with us. Hey America, thanks so much for being with us for this segment of Invent America. And this segment is, I'm going to do some of my own read-ins and thank yous, because, oh yeah, I have to do this on the run since I have no internet right now. But this segment is being brought to you by Product Quick Start, and we are very grateful for Noah McNeely and all of the inventors that he has helped out there. Our guest this segment is Roy Rindom. He got handed a bucket full of lemons and definitely made some lemonade for us. His product is called the Bottle Station. And Roy, thank you so much for sending me a couple of those, because I am thinking that finally now my bottles, one, will not disappear. They will not fall into the sink. And my husband is going to say, gee, thanks, honey, because it sticks now and I don't have to worry about putting my gooey hands all over the place and dropping it in the sink. So Roy, tell our listeners, what is the Bottle Station and why is it so cool?
Well, thank you very much for having me. I really appreciate this opportunity and being a guest on your show, Rita. My innovation is definitely because of the increasing number of hand pump bottles, aka COVID. Okay, the hand sanitizer, hand pump bottles, your dish soap, your hand washes. Well, my lemons were, unfortunately, working in the remodeling business. My left hand had a traumatic saw accident, and it got partially amputated, and it was terribly compromised. Now, with the increasing number of hand pump bottles on the market, you generally have to hold the bottle, then use to operate the pumping mechanism. And it takes two hands to just get a little fluid, whether it's hand lotion, dish soap, hand wash, or the hand sanitizers. So getting frustrated, not having two complete hands, having to hold it, the bottle's falling over, I knew there was a better way. AKA the Bottle Station was born. Now, the Bottle Station is a 100% USA made product. Okay, it secures using 4 high strength suction cups to any clean, smooth surface. Now all you have to do is insert any one of the hand pump bottles that you want to use, whether it's a 7.5 ounce soft soap for your hand wash or a 16 ounce Neutrogena hand lotion. Everything in between, all the different sizes and shapes. The Bottle Station is easy to use. It's easy to move. With the 4 suction cups, I can stick it down by my kitchen sink, and I know the dish soap is not going to fall over. I have friends coming over from out. We go outside. I can pick it up and bring it out to the patio. And now we have hand sanitizer. The Bottle Station is really a very, very functional, simple to use, simple to move. And did I say clean? You can put it in the top rack of your dishwasher. And now you know that there's not going to be any bacteria. I don't know how you clean those other hand pump bottle holders. They use double-faced tape, mount to a wall. The bottle station is very portable and cleanable.
Well, it is. It's a wonderful. As soon as I opened the package you sent me, it's like, okay, this is cool. And now my husband isn't going, oh my God, I can't hold on to this bottle because exactly what you're talking about. That problem now has gone away. So tell our listeners, where can they find the bottle station?
The bottle station is currently e-commerce, and we have our own website, thebottlestation.com. I'm also located on Etsy under Hand Pump Bottle Holders. Okay, so we have Etsy, we have our own website, we're on Instagram, Facebook. Join us. And if you say that you listened and heard from Rita's national radio show, there will be a little discount for you on your purchase. So come on, join the Bottle Station team on our social media and start reaching over with one hand. You never, and I say that again, you never have to worry about the bottle falling over, touching, or holding that hand pump bottle again. If you have any type of hand mobility issue, Parkinson's, stroke victims, arthritis, my hand got caught in a saw, so accidents, even the RV community when you're driving, the boating community, you're out there on the water, your hand sanitizer bottles are not going to fall over anymore using the bottle station.
I think that's a wonderful, and we're going to be able to post your website and how to get in touch with you, and let folks know. And it's funny how often somebody will send me an email or a text message and say, that product that you had on, that bottle holder thing, where do I get that? And we are more than happy to be able to go and post that. So, Roy, what's next? What is your goal with the product?
My goal with the bottle station is to really, as simple as, get the word out. It's frustrating. It's anxiety provoking for someone that has a hand mobility issue just to reach over and get some hand lotion, some dish soap, or some hand sanitizer. My goal is to help the hand mobility issue community to live a little bit easier, less stressful, less anxiety, and to be able to incorporate this. Teacher's desk, just walk by and never have to worry about that bottle falling over. The bottle station, wherever you use, want, or need a hand pump bottle, the bottle station can actually help make your life easier.
Well, excellent. Roy, thanks so much for being on today. I love your excitement about your product. We're going to work on you and get some of this information out there for you and see if we can't get your product maybe to ASD Market Week and do some of those other things that gets the eye of the consumer. And if you are out there, inventors, and you've got some questions, join us at the Inventor Roundtable meetings. It's the meetings, the inventor meetings is a really good place to start. You can ask questions. You can meet other people that have been there, done that, problems that they've solved so you don't make the same problem. If you need a good service provider, engineer, patent attorney, anything like that, you know what? Give me a call. We've got some good vetted service providers that are just ready to step in and help you out. Our next guest was also given a wheelbarrow full of lemons. Lonn is going to be with us in just a couple of minutes. So hang in everybody while we go and pay some bills. We will be right back for the next segment of Invent America. Welcome back, America, as we go and talk to Lonn Cunningham. He is our second inventor guest today who was dealt some lemons and figured out how to deal with that. But first, I want to say that this segment of Invent America is brought to you by ASD Market Week. It is the affordable shopping destination, big, amazing, awesome trade show that will take place in Las Vegas in March. And we are putting together a wonderful team of inventors to go and show off their products and get the attention of that buying American consumer. So, Lonn, thank you so much for being with us. Tell our listeners, what is your product?
Well, thank you for having me. First of all, my bucket of lemons was I was hit head on by a drunk driver at 145 mile per hour impact, leaving me a quadriplegic bilateral amputee with a club hand. When I went through rehab, they told me all the things that I would never do again. On that list was fishing. Now, for me, I grew up on the riverbanks of the Mississippi and the Rock River with my grandfather as early as 5 years old. And I also taught my own kids as early as 5 years old how to fish. So it's been a big part of my life. And now, not being able to do something. First, I don't think anybody can tell you what you can and can't do. You have to find a way to do it. You have to look for the invention, invent it if you have to. Well, there was nothing that out there at the time I got hurt. So I created a thing I call a quad cast. It allows me to go to any riverbank, any dock, any boat. I can sit in my wheelchair, strap it onto my armrest. All I have to have is somebody bait it for me. I can cast out, I can reel in the lunkers and fish just like anybody else. It's capable of handling multiple types of reels and rods. If you break your pole, within minutes you can take the pole off, put a new one on. Want a different reel, unhook it, put a new one on. Within minutes you can completely change the entire setup that you're using it for. Right now it is patent pending, and I do have a couple prototypes of it. My intent for it is I'm a veteran, and so I want to get it to veterans who are suffering from PTSD and depression and stuff, because I've seen them come alive once they've got out and started fishing, once they've got back out in nature. I also am part of the paralysis population. Sorry about that. And this summer, several of my friends who were in the same group used my quadcast, and they had a blast. The people that were using it have MS. Another guy had ALS, which I hadn't even thought about that, but he has so limited grip in his hand, and he really loved it because it allowed him to be able to fish again. And he thought that was going to be a going away thing. Paraplegics, quadriplegics alike, or for the dad who's got to keep one hand on the child and the other hand on his fishing pole, it'll work for that too.
Well, and I've got a brother-in-law who's got the advanced stages of MS, and he fished for decades, just like you. I mean, he grew up fishing in Wisconsin. So for him, to be able to go fishing and just the thrill of sitting by the water and being able to cast out and, catch a good fish, there's something American about being able to go fishing and just enjoy yourself sitting along the side of a river or a lakefront and let the sun shine on your face and cast out a pole.
Well, the camaraderie of it all for me, you have other people that also enjoy the same thing. And I've seen guys that were cooped up in nursing homes and cooped up in hospitals and stuff, and we've taken them out fishing, got them out there, and they come alive. It's like your soul needs it. And so I know it's kind of deep to say it that way, but if you are stuck indoors and your love is for being out there in nature, especially people who are adventurous or were adventurous before they got hurt, and you have that stripped away from you. I had everything taken away from me, everything. And to say, okay, I just will sit here until the end of time, that's not happening. You have to, first of all, want to move on. You have to find a way to do it. And I really enjoy my fishing, and so it works.
That's great. And, I don't mean to sound condescending, Lonn, but I'm really proud of you. I think it's awesome. I've been talking to you now on the phone and video calls and stuff for months, and watched you as you've gotten through this stage of, getting to that sporting event and being able to fish. And then I got to watch, 30 odd, videos that you sent back of people going, "Oh my God, this is so cool." So it is very cool. Unfortunately, right now it is not for sale. My listening America. But we are working hard to get it licensed so that we can get it for sale. Correct, Lonn?
Yes, ma'am. Like I said, it's in the process of being. I have another prototype that's being put together now. I should have it this week, and then I should be ready to start looking for getting it into production.
So, I mean, if push comes to shove and somebody's really desperate for one, you could have one made by your prototyper, right?
Yeah, I could. It'd be a bit more expensive, but it could be done. Yes, it is feasible to have them made individually and sent out.
So if you are out there and you want to go fishing, or someone who would just be able to cast a pole and go fishing, for some it's worth a little bit more to be able to have that peace of mind. Get in touch with us. I will put you in touch with Lonn, and sometimes a little bit more money spent on the product right now is worth the pleasure and the satisfaction and the wow moment, as opposed to waiting for the licensing deal to go through. So we want to make sure that we let everybody know out there that you could, if you wanted to, be able to get your hands on one of these a lot faster than mass market.
Thank
so
you.
Lonn, a question for you on how long were you working on your prototype before you were able to get something out there and try it?
Well, initially I built one that was, I've used it for about 20 years, but then this last summer, I completely redesigned it. And that's when I talked to a patent attorney, and he said, because I redesigned everything about it, the uniqueness of it, there is nothing like this on the market. There isn't anywhere. I've scoured the markets. I've had 2 patent attorneys search the markets, and they can't find anything like this on the market. But because it was completely redesigned this last summer, they said that it is patentable. Normally you only have 1 year from the invention to actually applying for the patent. But because, like I said, because I stripped the whole body off of it and reset everything, they said, yeah, I definitely have something to run with.
Well, and that is always encouraging to hear from an attorney, as opposed to all the things that are wrong with what you're trying to file on. It's really fun when you get one that's like, this is really cool. And so we want to make sure that, inventors, when you're working on something, you can join, the Inventors Roundtable group. We're going to have Don talk about the Kentucky group, but there are different inventor groups in almost every state. And you learn a lot when you go and you ask the questions about the process, because it's not easy, is it, Lonn?
No, it's not. I've learned so much. And, you think, okay, all you got to do is apply for a patent, and it's just that simple, but it's not. And it goes in spurts. 1 minute it just flies. You're sitting here on weeks on end, nothing happening. And then all of a sudden, everything just, people calling up from everywhere. And I need this, I need this, I need this. Give me this paperwork. And so then it flies. It does greatly help to have somebody like Rita in your corner who can walk you through the steps to get there. And I am grateful for that.
Well, we try, and the sooner an inventor calls me with, I have an idea, what do I do? The sooner we're able to kind of get them into the right steps and going down it. But I get inventors that they'll call and say, "Oh my goodness, we had a deal with somebody, and now we don't," and it's like, let's see what you've got, and we will give it our best shot. So, Lonn, thanks so much for being with us. Everybody stick with us. We're going to be right back and wrap up this hour of Invent America with our industry expert, Don Skaggs. We're going to have him talk a little bit about that special group in Kentucky. So stick with us, everybody. for being with us as we wrap up this hour of Invent America. And we do this because America invents in all types of situations. And like Don said, the bigger the need, the bigger the invention and the desire to get it through the different stages. So, Don, you've been doing this for a long, long time. You've got the Kentucky group. So tell our inventors, a little bit about that Kentucky group.
Sure. We're the Inventors Network Kentucky, kyinventors.org. We help inventors, entrepreneurs, anybody with an idea for a product or a business. And we kind of walk them through the entire process, everything from coming up with the idea, picking the right idea. Sometimes people have so many ideas they don't know which one they want to work on first, and they gotta kind of pick that lowest hanging fruit first, and all the other steps. And there's so many of them. There's prototyping. There's learning about your market, learning who your customer is. Actually, that was a great experience we had not that many weeks ago at the Kentucky State Fair, where we had our innovation station, and it was actually folks that had made products and had taken them to the Kentucky State Fair, to this special area we had, and were actually able to sell products and get to know their customers. I had people walking away saying, Don, I learned more about who my customer is the last 3-4 days, 11 days. 11 days long. Some people were there shorter, some people were there longer. But I've learned more about who my customer is in the last 3 days than I have the entire time I've been doing this. And it was amazing. And they got to walk away with money in their pockets, which is just pretty amazing. So and in all the different kinds of innovations, and when you say when life gives you lemons, and Roy and Lonn are very, very hard acts to follow when it comes to that. They've got great stories, they've got great ideas, great inventions, great products. Also, when, a lot of times you'll have lemons. I can think of one right now, Missy Ward. She invented something called the Cruiser Easy Leash, and she was having a problem. She actually had an accident and fell because her dog leash was wrapping around her legs and just kind of pulled her to the ground. And had some real injuries from that, but she got over that, and she says, you know what, there's got to be a better way. Now she's got a leash that will it'll bend, but it won't wrap around your legs, and it's a pretty neat thing. And watch her actually sell those things at the state fair with all those people coming through there was pretty amazing. And then a lot of inventors out there, I mean, they've got a lot of empathy. And sometimes maybe it's not their lemons, maybe it's other people's lemons that they come into contact or work closely with. For instance, I'm thinking of Ryan Montgomery. Ryan is a physical therapist at a VA medical center, and he saw so many of his patients with plantar fasciitis and just trouble walking and so much pain they could not even really walk any distance at all without just being in complete utter pain. And he came up with this product called the Ridge Walk, little insoles, and I've never seen anything like it before, Rita. He would set people down, he would put them, have them stand on those insoles, and he had like a 90% sell rate on that product. I've never seen anything like it before. But it all stemmed from that empathy of seeing these patients and seeing these folks with these really, really painful problems, literally painful problems, and actually coming up with a solution for that. And that's what we see with so many different inventors and entrepreneurs. I was thinking of another lady from Michigan that actually wound up in our innovation station. She had a great empathy for people who were disabled and people who had trouble buttoning their shirts, and actually had come up with magnetic buttons for your shirt, where they just came together, and there you went. So there's just so many out there like that, and I could go on, but it's amazing. And usually, and it's funny, the ones that the innovations where it's like, well, I just came up with this really, really cool thing. And I'm like, you've got to find customers that are like, this is a real problem, and we really want to overcome this problem. And we want to give you certificates of appreciation called dollar bills in order to solve this problem that we have.
Well, and a lot of times people don't, when you've solved a problem that people know they have, it's a lot easier to sell the product. When you've got to teach them that they've got a problem, it's a little bit more challenging to sell the product. And Apple spent a lot of money teaching us that an apple is something that you play with instead of something that you eat.
Right.
And so, when we look at, being able to do all of that, and for the independent inventor, marketing dollars are precious. And
they are. And if you've got to say, well, you just have to follow these 14 simple steps. No, they're not 14. There are no such things 14 steps.
There's nothing simple about it, and there's nothing inexpensive about it. And, it's like the Kentucky State Fair where people can get eyes on it. When we take people to ASD Market Week, last year we had one of the ladies made her first wholesale sale. Several of the guys were taking their first orders. And the one gentleman, he doubled his sell rate in 3 months, completely doubled.
Wow.
And it was because he was there and he met people that were the buyers. We had other inventors that learned who their market was and who they could meet. And so that show is very interesting because it sells to the buyers and the big stores. All right. The licensees, potential licensees will come to that show, but they let consumers in. So you could sell part of your inventory. A lot of those professional shows don't let the consumers in. So anyway, Don, thank you so much for being on with me today. We are getting ready to wrap up this hour of Invent America. We want you to join us again next week, where we talk to a couple more inventors and an industry expert about some new issues, new consumer products. And we love being able to share with you. So if you know somebody out there that's got questions, wants to join us, the Inventors Roundtables are free. And sometimes the best information you get is the inventor sitting next to you, even if it is on a computer screen. So everybody, thanks so much for being with us today.